Hi, guys, and happy Columbus Day. A couple of you were telling me that you are having difficulty with the sentence structure. At least one of you emailed me this weekend to say that you're having difficulty with a whole sentence parsing. And so I wanted to see if we can figure this out together with a very simple sentence. The poet rowed the boat. Yeah, so the first thing I'm going to do when I look at this sentence to map it out to draw this sentence structure is to identify the subject and the verb. And here, the poet, we got that as the subject, and rowed the boat as the predicate. So that's not part of our parse tree here, but I like to start with that because you'll see as we build the tree, there's going to be this big kind of dotted empty line between the subject and the predicate, and we'll meet in the center. If all goes well, we'll label that the inflectional phrase or the sentence. Now, some people like to start up here to map it out. I don't quite because I tend to run out of room. And then everything goes in every which way. It looks like a spider's web. If you like to start up here, it is quite possible, but it's possible also that you'll miss things like prepositional phrases as you go. So I recommend that you start all the way to the right, I guess to on your right hand side of the sentence, not at the period, but at this last word. And in this case, the last word is what? Boat? Yeah. What type of word is that? What lexical category is it? It's a noun. So I start here so that we know that there's nothing after it. There's no complement here. So I know I'm going to go up a little further than I would in most cases. I'm looking at noun. This is the head of the phrase. This indicates the head. And then the end bar. I would attach this if I had something after, but I don't. And I need to find my noun phrase. Now, if this were just boat on its own, the poet rowed boat, then I would go up here and say, that's my noun phrase. But I got this, what is it called? Determiner here, or you could call it an article. I'm gonna say it's a determiner. Let's see if I can erase this noun phrase then. Oh, my eraser is weak. So to make this full noun phrase, this determiner is part of it. There we go. There's the noun phrase. Here's the determiner. I don't care if your lines are very straight or if you have to scribble down here. I know some videos that have just labeled things straight off. If you have trouble with the lexical categories or if you have difficulties, I would recommend that you do that first. By, by this point, I'm pretty familiar with what's a noun and a verb, so it's not really, I mean, maybe it's something I should do out of good practice, but it's not something I tend to do to say determiner, noun, verb, determiner, noun. But if you need to keep track of that, go ahead and write yourself some notes, beside it, like determiner, if you need to. That's fine. That won't throw me off. But okay, I've got this noun phrase here. And notice how phrases get bigger. We start with, this is one whole phrase, just the word boat. Just the word, just the boat, or boat could be one noun phrase if we didn't have this determiner in here. But it becomes a larger phrase, and we get larger and larger and larger as we go with this road. What is road? Road is a verb. Now, because we have a complement here, bam, that's our V bar. Okay, well, I don't have anything before this, so if it said the poet quietly rowed the boat, then I would attach that quietly on to form my verb phrase. That quietly would be what? It would be a adverb here, but I don't got quietly. The poet's just rowing the boat. It could be loud. So that's a verb phrase. I don't know if you can see that. That's a VP for verb phrase. Okay, now what's throwing a lot of people off is this I. What is this I for? The I indicates inflection. The I is there to attach to any kind of auxiliary verbs. So I know in the back of your book, the homework that I had for you, it attached, I think, should to the I over here. I'm not going to give you too many of those sentences, but in case you do see something like this, that's where it attaches. Now, we don't have any auxiliary verbs here. Think of it as an add-on where I've got the I to keep good structure. The bar goes first. I mean, up top, rather. My bad handwriting with a mouse here. And now I got to determine if road is past tense or not past tense. By not past tense, I mean present tense, but it's not as simple as that. It's not just present tense. We've got present continuous, we've got future, we've got hypothetical. Like if I said the poet would row the boat if you gave him $1. But in this case, rowed, I know from this ED, we know from morphology, is past tense. So yes, I say, yep, it's PSD. PST. Okay, surprisingly good handwriting for a mouse. All right, now unfortunately this is in exactly the wrong spot for me, so I'm gonna erase it. Oh no. Can this go any faster? Make it bigger. Big eraser. Let me get them all right now. Okay, now this, if it's a full sentence, will always culminate in an IP, inflectional phrase. Inflectional phrase. I didn't enunciate that very well. So we got that IP. All it means, sentence. Now, notice we do indeed have that big space in between subject and predicate. Usually there'll be a big white space in the sentences that we're seeing, the simple sentences that we're seeing. You won't see any lines cross this way at all. You'll have a pretty big empty space here. So I've got poet. I'm still starting to the right and not with the determiner, just because, habit, and because what's the head of this phrase? Poet. It's not the. What's that? It's a noun. Forms one big noun phrase, the poet. And what is the? Yes, it's a determiner. Note that there are more determiners than just the and There's also those. I'm pretty sure that the book lists quite a few other determiners. These. Now I've connected that up. In an ideal world, my lines would be straight. But this is kind of like Microsoft Paint here, so it's not very easy to do. I'm not going to ask you to have a ruler in class or anything like that, so not so picky, but do try to have this sort of V formation. It tends to be easier so that you don't throw yourself off track and have three branches. You're only ever going to have in these sentences two branches. In a V bar graph, you're only going to have those two branches. So there you go. You've got the poet rowed the boat. Okay. Well, I hope that this stuff is getting easier and easier. I'm noticing that you get a rhythm down to it as you go. Start small. If you're having difficulties with this, start with the really tiny stuff. Start with boat. Then do the boat. Do the boat in the garage. You know, make it larger, add some prepositional phrases on, and you'll find that it gets easier and easier. Add a verb phrase. Notice that what does a verb phrase attach to? Um, when you when you diagram sentences like this, what it's doing is it's showing your awareness of how the words fit together in patterns. Notice we're not, fitting poet with road. That's not. This ain't one phrase. And this whole structure shows that it's not. It shows what things connect to and how we conceptualize sentences. And I think that's very cool. So I hope you're finding it cool. All right. Well, I'll see you in class on Wednesday. Bye, guys.